We're alive. What was that? Ow now, brown cow.
Yes.
That's a good one. Should do that one. But we need to do some vocal warm-ups before we start. That would be good. But anyway, completely fresh. Here we are. Welcome back to Leafs Late Night. I'm your host, Roscoe, joined by Biehn and Suthy. Remember to give us a follow on all of the platforms. I guess we're out on anywhere you listen to podcasts, but we're also up on YouTube on the Inside the Rink YouTube channel. The video was always there. Apologies, the last one was a little late. That's my bad. I didn't send it in. But they are always up usually as soon as we're done. So go and check that out if you like watching them. Otherwise, here we are, wherever you're listening. Give us a follow on, I'm not going to say it's X now. Mine finally changed. Are your Twitter's X?
Nope, not yet.
Mine finally just did, but just like I still call it the ACC and the Sky Dome, I will still call it Twitter.
See, those ones are starting to wear off for me, the Sky Dome and the ACC. Like, it took more than a couple of years, but I think it's finally starting to catch the new names, and I'm just sad that Twitter's no longer Twitter. But with how things are going, it's probably going to be Twitter again in like 2 months.
Who knows?
Who knows? So anyway, follow us on X and on Instagram for all of the updates. But alas, we are back. Even as I say this, we got some people still sending us in questions. So that is great. We're going to be mostly just talking about the questions today. A little family episode, as we'll call it. But first, some unfortunate news in Leafs Nation this week. Rodion Amirov, everything that we heard was that things were progressing, which seemed, to brighten everybody's spirits a bit. And then I guess, I don't know when things went south, but we lost Rodion Amirov on Monday at the age of 21. Just heartbreaking, way too soon, way too young. Somebody that, had a bright future in the sport and was strong and fighting through brain cancer. I can't imagine what he was going through and how positive he stayed. And I mean, we really only got to see a little bit of him, but man, that hurt.
Yeah, there's not
Yeah,
really.
that's some really, really tough news. Like, all the hockey stuff aside, it seemed like he was a really great kid, and to lose someone at that age in that way too, like, such a tough way to go. It's one positive, just like the outreach of the hockey community. That's been pretty positive so far.
Yeah, I mean, even hearing from, I saw Nick Robertson and Tavares on Twitter both had really nice things to say. I'm not saying other people didn't, but those are just the ones that I happened to catch in the few minutes I was on that day. Yeah, everybody who met him said he was a really, really bright kid and, great to be around. So it's just, it really sucks.
It does. Like the strength and the courage that he showed going through that battle as positively and as confidently as he did, and as publicly too, right? Being a prospect and property of the Leafs. Yeah, it's like a hockey player aside, like he was only 21 years old. Like that's terrible.
Yeah, really, really sucks. Condolences to anybody around the family and friends and the team and all that. Just heartbreaking. But unfortunately, it wasn't the end of Monday's news, as we also lost Bobby Biehn, who was a Leafs legend and part of the last Stanley Cup winning team. So, I mean, I'm sure, Biehn, you know more about Bobby Biehn if you want to touch on some history there.
Just I've actually got the reverse retro on as a throwback to Mr. Biehn. He was like your prototypical rugged stay-at-home defenseman, like the type of defenseman that you would want on your team, right? Tough as nails, would do anything for you. Just like he was a leader back there, a vital member of the Leafs teams in the 60s. One of his most famous moments is scoring a Game 6 overtime winning goal to force a Game 7 on a broken ankle.
Yeah, I've been hearing that one a lot from all the other shows, and my God, you hear this stuff about, punctured lung and broken rib and broken sternum and all this and that, but like your ankles are kind of important for all of hockey, not just like, oh, if I move a certain way, then I'm fine. No, like, how are you doing that?
Like in an interview years and years and years later, like the interview was probably only about 10 years or so ago. Excuse me. He mentioned that he blocked a shot and the shot was from Gordie Howe. So anybody who's seen pictures of Gordie Howe online, the guy was just a tank. He blocked a shot from Gordie. It hurt. At the next face-off, he hears a pop or a crack,
Yep.
and then falls to the ice. Was carried off on a stretcher.
Lovely.
Had his leg frozen, and then jumped back on the ice in overtime to score the overtime winner. Not like it was against me. It was against Terry Sawchuk, one of the best goaltenders to ever play the game.
Yeah, I heard it was like an hour and a half that he was off the ice before he came back. That's insane. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Just
Like
still-
the adrenaline's
to
worn
still
off
be-
at that point.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Like, to still be warmed up and ready to jump in and be like, no, I got this after being off the ice that long. Like, the game's over in your mind. My
Just a
God.
legendary tale.
Yeah,
So,
he was an incredible player and such a great ambassador for the team too. Throughout going forward throughout the years after that. So it's truly a tough loss.
Yeah. Another legend, unfortunately gone. And I see Nick Castellanos has just hit a home run. Sorry for anybody who doesn't get that. I just stumbled upon this one. This is our hard right transition out of that one. So from what I can find, 12th or 13th time this week, Nick Castellanos, who plays for the Phillies currently, has this weird streak of hitting home runs or RBIs in the middle of like really inappropriate, not inappropriate, but like serious conversations or dedications or things. Like he will interrupt things with a home run. So it started with this one announcer who had to make an apology for something that got caught on a hot mic. And like in the middle of his apology, he stops to say like, oh, and that's a home run for Nick Castellanos. And that is 4-0. It's so funny. And then they apparently within minutes of Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, this guy hit a home run. They were doing a dedication for Queen Elizabeth II. And like as they're wrapping it up, he hits a home run. They were talking about how the one Jays coach got arrested for a DUI, hits a home run. They were doing a dedication for the 20th anniversary of 9/11, hits a home run. So apparently the other day they were talking about this ALS foundation and how it's, impacted baseball with Lou Gehrig's disease and everything. And like while they're talking about it, he's on base and everyone's on the plate and everyone's like, I don't know about this. Sure enough, it's an RBI double.
There's a great gambling angle to be had here.
Yeah, it's just the weirdest streak because though some of them are in arena things, a lot of them are just the announcers talking about stuff. So it's not even like he knows all of the time that this is going on. It's just such a random thing to keep happening. That's a fun one.
Weird.
So moving on, we've got, like I said, a bunch of questions from y'all from X or Twitter. I don't really care what you want to call it. Follow us at Leafs Late Night, and you can catch whenever I ask for questions. So the first one here from Chris Brochet at Chris Brochet, DJ Rabbit. What do you think the holdup is for the extension for Matthews? I mean, Nylander, I guess, is the best answer. Or the easiest answer?
That's probably the easiest answer, but it's such a weird scenario. Like coming in at this crucial of a time, he's trying to learn what Brad wants to do, how he wants to run things, trying to decide if he wants to commit the rest of his prime to this team and where Brad wants to go and what he wants to build. Like, I don't blame the guy for not just signing blindly. Like, you'd want to have good, serious discussions with the general manager about like the type of team that he wants to put on the ice before you go and commit.
No, fair enough. Oh, you know what I forgot to do?
Hi, this is Mike Ross, public address announcer
My bad.
for your Toronto Maple Leafs, and this is the Leafs Late Night Podcast, your post-game destination. And now, your starting lineup: Roscoe, the Fanalist, Suthy, Biehn, and Darty Brodeur on the Leafs Late Night Podcast.
Okay. I just had to, I missed it one of the last couple times, and it was bugging me that it wasn't there, so I have an intro for a reason. Okay. So yeah, feeling out what Treliving wants to do with the team is definitely something that probably him and Nylander are both trying to suss out before they sign for longer than a couple of years. I don't know, Suthy, do you have anything you want to add to that theory or your own?
I feel you guys pretty much nailed it on the head. I imagine that there's an agreement that they both want him to come back, right? He wants to come back. The team obviously wants him back. To Biehner's point, he's probably just going to wait a bit, see what Brad's going to do. And that's going to determine whether he's going to sign here 3 years, 5 years, or even further than that. But you got to think with the way the cap's going up, he's probably going to sign a shorter term deal. But I'm not too scared that this isn't going to happen.
Yeah, I think the problem with signing either of them long term is you're going to have to go so high on the AAV just because the cap's going up that I don't think they're going to be able to afford it like next year and the year after before it really starts jumping.
Especially if you don't have Nylander signed too, it's really hard to commit those types of dollars in years, even if it is Matthews.
Yeah, so I think the order of operations is Nylander first because you're hoping that's obviously, I mean, not hoping, it should be a lower dollar value regardless of what his agent says than what you're going to give Matthews. So you got to figure Nylander out first. He probably wants to figure out goaltending too. I don't know. There's a lot of things that have to happen and dollars that need to be spent elsewhere before they can throw around $20 million on two guys.
Yeah.
That being said, though, at this point, like the start of next season when that new contract would kick in, that's the last season Tavares is under contract for right now.
Oh, that's true. Didn't think of that.
Like at this point, give him his 13, give him his 14, whatever it is, because those type of players don't come around that often. We don't want to lose him. We don't want a Kachuk or a Gaudreau situation.
Yeah, and you don't want to lose them, especially to keep Tavares for, whatever it is. Are you talking moving him on in that last year or just the fact that you only have one more year?
Who, Tavares? No,
Yeah.
not moving him on. Just that it's not like you have 5 or 6 years of $11 million John Tavares in his late 30s, right?
Fair. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of different answers to that question, but it's a good one. What do you think the first domino to fall here is? Because obviously there's a lot of things that have to happen. What do you think the first one that we're going to see is?
Publicly, I think the first thing to go down is going to be Nylander, whether he stays or gets traded or what it is. But the big problem with him is if you do trade him, trying to find someone who brings what he brings for under he's basically $7 million. For under $8 million, you're going to be next to impossible to do that.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, so next question, Phil Wilds at PWilds121. Did the team get better or worse over the offseason? So let me just pull up the additions and subtractions.
You want to go first on this one, Suthy? I've kind of been taking over.
Oh, no, no worries. It's all you, buddy.
My opinion, I think that it's definitely been better. Like, even if you just look at the left wing position alone.
100%.
Like, we go into the season our starting left wings are Tyler Bertuzzi, Max Domi, and Matthew Nyes in some order, like not necessarily that order.
Yeah, I think the first line definitely looks better. Not that, I mean, Bunting was good, but a little inconsistent and a little hot-headed. And, yeah, So having Tyler Bertuzzi that's a little more consistent and offensive producing and, can still bring that same kind of grit and back up Matthews and Marner, I think that's awesome. Domi on the second line, I'm just going off of what's, projected here. With Tavares and Nylander is awesome. If you've got Nyes in there on the third line, Gambrell on the fourth, David Kampf on your third line, it all looks good. I like it better than... Engvall was pretty inconsistent last year. Could never really put 2 and 2 together. Who else we lost? Justin Hall's gone. I like this team better. I know John Klingberg's not a great defenseman, but hey, we've still got Brody, we've still got Riley and a couple others.
Yeah.
So
He's going to do so much for your second power play unit too. I think just like the depth move we made on left wing alone makes us a better team right now. Not to be forgotten too, Martin Jones. If we have goaltender problem, we have way better insurance than we did last year, right? That is a huge thing going forward as well.
So actually, before we get down to Martin Jones, because that was going to be our next question, what do you like the best on the addition side here, Biehn?
Am I allowed to say a full season of Matthew Nyes?
Yeah, honestly, it part of the moves they've made opens up a spot for him. So,
Max, it's probably just for the nostalgia, but Max Domi, I really like that. He's very familiar with Marner. They played together in London. Who knows? That might be a new, not wanting to throw him up on the first line without seeing them play together, but Matthews, Marner, and Domi might be a hell of a line.
That would be fun.
You could free up Nyes, Tavares, and Nylander then for your second. That would be a dangerous line as well. But then you're throwing Bertuzzi on your third.
I was just going to say, where do you put Bertuzzi?
Yeah, the fact that we have so many options now. Exactly. Yeah. We haven't really had that depth in any position other than center in the longest time.
Yeah, last year it seemed like there was depth, but very specific to center and somewhat right wing. And it was always this question of what are we doing on left? And it didn't seem to get solved last year. So I'm glad that the one thing that Brad made the top of his list was fixing all of the left wing. So that's going to be exciting. Again, I just like the idea that Klingberg is a Leaf. I don't know. It's just fun.
Me too.
We never get the person that's oh, where are they going to go? What team's going to get them? We always get the third or fourth person down.
Yeah, he's going to be so good on the power play too. And if Brody goes down, Lindley goes down, he's a top-notch offensive defenseman. I think the style he played too in Dallas wasn't too great for his game and his other stop as well. So I think if he's a little more insulated in Toronto as well, it's going to not hurt as much defensively. But what he brings offensively, it's just we haven't had that in quite a while.
Yeah, I think we got to find a better partner for him than Jake McCabe, though, as it has here on Daily Faceoff. I know this is not obviously anything set in stone, but that would be a horrible pair. But who do you put Klingberg with?
Why do you say that would be a horrible pair?
Because I don't feel like either of them are overly defensively responsible. To have two, you've got kind of a two-way and an offensive defenseman, which is, okay, depending on how you're playing, but you're putting a lot on a goalie that, I don't know, this year it's a little more of a question mark in net. You don't know, you don't want to pepper Joseph Wall with a bunch of high danger shots. So I don't know.
I think there's good potential there. Riley Brody has been okay for most of the time they played together. You could throw Brody with Klingberg, McCabe up with Riley. You could even,
That's what I was thinking.
I really want to see them load up the minutes on Liljegren this year. We need to see what we have with him. I love the guy. I think he's got a lot of potential, but we need to give him a chance. We can't keep burying him as a third pairing defenseman.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Because as we all know, you do that, and they're always going to be a third pair defenseman. So.
Yep.
Okay. Next question here from Kilgore Ken 27 Killaconda. I like that Twitter/X lets you have two names. It makes it so fun. I wonder who our goalie is, and is Matthews signing or not? I need answers. So that I'll tie into Grizzly Craig 1's question. 2 starting goalies for the first game. So you mentioned we brought in Martin Jones. We've got Joseph Wall. We've got Ilya Samsonov. Which 2 do you think are going to be in net for game 1?
Obviously, Sammy's going to be starting, I think, but I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Jones start the season because I think he can't go down without being claimed off waivers, whereas Wall can right now. So that might be the biggest deciding factor there.
Good point. Biehner, what do you think?
See, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Jones just started in the A. Because, kind of the same thing with Wall, right? Like, you have to see what you have with him. He finally got his chance because he's been running into injury trouble forever. Came up last year, and he played well. Like, we didn't lose because of him.
No, he was great. Even in the AHL season, like, he was really good.
Yeah, he wasn't the problem. So that could just be me really wanting to see him get a chance. Like, I get signing Jones, the security blanket, but it's not even... It's not like you're signing an over the hill former Vezina winner, Stanley Cup champion. Yeah. You're signing a over the hill 860 goalie.
Yeah, his stats are confusing. I mean, we talked about it last episode, but I think it's safe to put Jones in as your backup in game 1, but I think it's fair to give Wall the opportunity because he's earned it, and to bring in Jones and just bump him down seems kind of like a kick in the Achilles. So what do I think is going to happen? Honestly, I think it's going to be Martin Jones. I think to what Suthy said, it's just waiver-wise and just veteran experience there. They're probably going to do it. They're probably going to have to pull some cap gymnastics to fit somebody else in before game 1. So
I was going to say Wall's $109,000 cheaper.
He is. And if he plays really well in training camp too, it's going to be really hard to turn him down. Like, as Biehner said, like, he's worked his ass off to get to this point. And, like, eventually, same with Lily, right? He deserves to have regular minutes and to be part of the big club. So every time he's just sniffing it and they send him back down, that's, it's detrimental to the guy's future eventually.
I'm not saying what's the right decision. I'm saying what I think is going to happen. I think the right decision is Wall, but what's going to happen is it's going to be Martin Jones in game 1.
I do agree.
Anything to add? Okay. So last one here from Tommy Ryan 26. Since we know Brad Treliving wants changes on the blue line, who do you think are a few players around the league he may be targeting? I have a couple thoughts, but I'm wondering if you guys have any.
Well, I was wondering if there was some sort of deal he was trying to make to free up some cap space to maybe go after Dumba, but that's clearly not happening now.
So you think it'd be like a defensive-oriented?
Well, realistically, he already went out and got Klingberg. That's basically a forward who plays back.
Yep, it's fair.
Right? So you have Riley, who is Klingberg, but more responsible. You have Klingberg, and then you have Lily, who is kind of more of a two-way guy, but has a little bit of offensive ability. So I don't know if you really want to go, like, we're not the Pittsburgh Expendables here with Letang and Carlson.
I mean, it's fair to say that the two defensive-oriented defensemen are Giro and Brody. Mm-hmm. Other than that, it's either offensive or two-way. So, yeah, I mean, that makes the most sense. I still think that there isn't, though there's like an offensive threat coming from Klingberg, there's no dangerous shot still. So, I mean, even if they do get a defensive person, I think a shot from the blue line is something that he might be looking for. I don't know, Nikita Zadorov from his old team, potentially.
It's possible. Like, I don't think he's going to do anything going right into the season. That's going to be something November, December, maybe, where you start to look at that. I think he's going to roll with what he has, and that's what we're going to see, I think, on day one.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're moving one of the defensemen, it doesn't really make sense to be able to bring somebody else in. I think all the slots are kind of filled. I mean, if he wants changes, fuck. I mean, who do you move on from there? I guess, like we've talked about, Brody kind of makes sense, but then you really got to bring in another defensive defenseman, and who's going to do a 1-for-1 there?
Yeah, I don't think Brody's the guy to do it.
I mean, you don't want to move Liljegren. The only one you could move, I guess, is Jake McCabe. But again, trading defenseman for defenseman is always weird and hard, and is going to have to be a situation where a team wants to move on from somebody.
Having McCabe at $2 million for the next 2 years, that would be stupid to move on from.
Exactly, unless he starts becoming Justin Hall 2.0, in which case I don't care how much we're paying him.
He won't be Justin Hall 2.0 because he does actually use his size.
Oh, and as Justin just sent me from 6 minutes ago, Hall of Fame Buffalo Sabres broadcaster Rick, how do you say this last name? Jeanneret passed away at the age of 81 after a 2-year illness. That is unfortunate.
R.I.P.
Now, as much as I dislike the Sabres, if you think of the Buffalo Sabres, just like if I think of a Leafs play, I think of Bowen. If I think of a Sabres play, I think of Rick Jeanneret.
Gotcha.
Like the Mayday call when Brad May scored to win the series. Mayday,
So
Mayday, Mayday. Like, everybody's heard that.
Iconic.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Absolute legend of the game. And that's condolences to Sabres fans out there.
Yeah, for sure. Rest in peace. It's unfortunately, up and down episode here with that. And it seems, Nick Castellanos just hit another home run. Okay, so last thing I want to do here, do a bit of a shorter episode. What do you think is the difference between being, I guess, a classy fan and a trashy fan when you go to a game? So I want you to describe to me your classy viewing experience going to a Leaf game and what that looks like. So, Biehn, let's start with you.
Is this like personal experience as being both, or
no? Just you. I wanted to hear what your opinion of this is. And everybody can chime in on Twitter or what they think is classy or trashy to do at an arena or at a game. But what do you think is like a classy way to watch the game?
So, I have kind of been on, in my opinion, I've kind of been on both sides of this. Although the trashy one wasn't really for the Leafs. So if I'm going to a game now, like when I took my dad to the game that Matthews ended up scoring his 60th in, like, I'm as big of a fan as anybody. I'll yell and scream, like cheer. If a bad play happens, I might jeer them a little bit. But as I've grown up, I've kind of come to the realization that you don't have to get, vulgar or anything like that, because there could be, and maybe this is because I'm a dad now, but like there could be someone there who has their 5 or 6 year old at their first game, which, yeah, okay, if I'm 2 seats over from them and I'm yelling and screaming, yeah, go score, whatever, that's great. That's part of the atmosphere. That's part of going to a game. But if I'm dropping new words that the kid has never heard every other sentence, like that's not, they paid as much as I did to go, right? Like that's where I'm at right now. But I have been on the other side of it where I took my buddy to a game in Ottawa to see the Canucks play because he was a big Canucks fan, and we almost got in a fight. Like, and I'm not even a Canucks fan. Like I've been on both sides, but that was a long time ago, back when I was in college. So yeah,
okay,
I have no issue.
Let's do this.
Yep. Okay.
What do you wear into the game if you're going classy?
I mean, jersey's classy. Wearing another team that's not playing that night, that's trashy. But first of all, the biggest thing for me is how you sit in front of a person. If you're leaning like that and you're up all the time, you're a piece of dirt. You're the biggest trash person in that whole fucking arena. Sit back on your chair. You have a backrest for a reason. If you do that, you're a classy fan in my eyes. The swearing, obviously, if you're dropping hard F's all the time, that's a big problem too. But fucking sit back in your seats. Do the right thing.
No, I like that. I like that. Justin, what are you wearing at a game if you're classy viewing experience?
Classy trash. It doesn't matter. I'm wearing a jersey. If I have a jersey, I'm wearing
it. Is it trashy to wear, let's say, like a replica coach's jacket of the team to the game?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Like, the way, like, everybody has their own fandom, right? Like, look at those guys in Vancouver who wore the green suits.
True.
Like, I wouldn't go that far, but you do you. Like,
yeah, I find like the biggest crime is... Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, especially, like, you look at the cost of an average jersey now is over $200.
Fair.
If you're going to a Leaf game, you're already mortgaging your house to go to the game. So,
but there are two
like,
teams playing. You
have
better be wearing one of those
like,
two jerseys. Like, this is an Ottawa thing too. If Ottawa's playing Toronto, you'll see a bunch of idiots wearing Montreal Canadian jerseys, and I don't get it. And they're amongst the worst people in that arena.
Okay. Go ahead.
Sorry. You live in Ottawa your whole life. You're a San Jose Sharks fan. You've loved Carlson. You haven't had a chance to go to any Senators Sharks games because it only happens once a year. You go to a Senators Penguins game this year wearing a San Jose Carlson jersey.
Okay.
1 year removed,
fine.
I think you might be okay.
Well,
that Puck Doku answer fits. Fine. You win. Oh, God. Love you.
That's an exception.
So face painting, classy or trashy?
Love it.
Classy. Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
Okay.
I went to game one of the Cup final 2012 with my buddy Moose, and he had the full out playoff beard going, and he got the devil emblem painted on his face because he's a big time Devils fan. Like, just I wouldn't do it myself, but anybody who has the guts to go ahead and get that done and walk around with it,
you went full putty from Seinfeld.
100% he did. He just kept his shirt on, that's all.
No, sports the team. Okay, what about names on jerseys? How removed from the team does the player have to be before it becomes trashy?
It's never trashy.
Okay.
To me, it's never trashy.
That's fine.
Exactly. Sorry, Suthy. I feel like I'm stepping over you
all this
episode so far.
Go ahead, buddy.
If you have had that enough of a connection with a player to purchase a jersey or a shirt or coat or whatever with their name and number on the back, wear it until it's so thin you can't wear it anymore. Like,
yeah,
like even like Islanders fans, I wouldn't give an Islanders fan any flack for wearing a Tavares jersey. He was their captain. He was their number one overall pick. Like, I don't get why people. I thought you were going with the like some people say, oh, grown men shouldn't wear a jersey with someone else's name on it. Like, get the fuck out of here.
I believe that's a little offside. Once you start stitching your own name back there and giving yourself a number, get back inside.
So here's two. What's trashier? Putting a player's name who didn't play for that team, wishing that they get traded to yours, or putting your own name on the back?
Oh, someone
player
else
that hasn't
played for the team. Hands down.
Like when people have the McDavid Leafs jerseys.
Oh God, that's cringe.
I've seen Gretzky ones as well.
Yeah. Okay, so that wins as trashiest jersey. So I was trying to get somewhere where jerseys become trashy at a game, and I found it. Okay. What about food at the arena? Is there anything that you would consider as classy or trashy to get? What about like, I mean, me personally, I have spilled some fucking mustard on a jersey with one of those huge from The Sens Arena, they've got these hot dogs that are like a foot long. They are way too big, man. That's too much beef. Too much beef. I really like hot dogs. I thought I wanted a huge hot dog. I didn't want that much. Man, it's too much. But anyway, some schmutz fell on my jersey and now it's all fucked up. So I would say like anything oversized that is covered in stuff like that you have to eat with your hands is a little like, yeah. You might get Costanza where they catch you on camera struggling with that thing.
To me, it's
That's
the
just
nachos.
an unforced error. the nachos, yeah. It's a dangerous game too.
Like,
but if you're going for a foot-long hot dog and you're ripping mustard from one end to the other, fuck, you're rolling the dice, buddy.
I know. I should have done it bite by bite. It's so much smarter. I'm just thinking of that now. Shit.
It's funny that you said that, Roscoe, because like I swear to God, when we were at the game with me and my dad, we're hungry. We each ordered one of them giant hot dogs because the ACC has them as well. Loaded them all up, and Dad said, "Hey, how much you want to bet he's going to score a 60th now that our hands are full?"
Oh God!
Sure as shit, we both get about 2 bites in, and he scores it.
Of course. But I'm interested in why you think nachos are trashy to get.
Like, how are you supposed to eat them without spilling them on yourself, the person in front of you, and the person beside you? Like, eating nachos at a table is unflattering and
That's
messy.
fair.
Like,
It's true.
I love nachos.
Like,
Are you talking like nachos, like a? Are you talking like a plate of nachos or like the movie nachos where you get the thing of nacho dip with the chips and you just dip it in the?
Either some greasy cheese too. Like, there's a lot wrong with this.
Yes. So
if
my
you're
take
at
on
a seat in a stadium, sorry,
no, go for it.
it's like a hot dog, a burger, a sandwich, slice of pizza, like something you would pack yourself for a lunch, where you don't have a table to sit at to eat.
Yeah. For me, it's that it seems like something that's not the best bang for your buck at the arena. Like everything at the arena is at least
Nothing at
20
the arena is good bang for your buck.
But hear me out. If everything's between like $20 and $26, like you might as well get like if chicken fingers and fries are like $1.50 more than getting nachos, or like a burger and fries is a couple bucks more than getting nachos, like that just seems like so much better value than getting nachos. Like I don't know. For me, popcorn at the game is weird. I wouldn't call it trashy, but it's something that I don't get. I wouldn't do.
Dude, at the Jays game that I was at, he had the special commemorative Jays popcorn container, and he caught a foul ball in it. It was awesome.
Damn, that is pretty cool. But again, it's like that you constantly have something in your hands. Your hands are always greasy, and like I don't want to touch the jersey. I don't know.
What are you doing touching your jersey, anyways? You got it on. Why do you have to touch it?
I don't know. I don't know what to do with my hands. I'm fidgety. I'm literally playing with the hole out of a fidget thing that I broke right now.
You hold a beer in one hand and you cheer with the other.
Okay, so that leads me to the next one. How many beers is trashy?
Why? Are you
if you're
driving?
doing more than one a period, that's a gamble. Yeah,
I guess. Too. Okay, I guess that's how we'll say it. Is getting up mid-period to go get another beer trashy?
Yes, in my opinion.
Yeah, you got to plan ahead.
I'm going to sound like an alcoholic here. I can handle my beer. So if I'm tying one on, I'm not driving, I don't have to worry about how I'm getting home, and I'm having a good time, you need to come back with 2 beers.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you don't just grab one.
Yeah.
Like, gotta preface it with, we have to be responsible. 9 times out of 10, I'm driving anymore, so I have 1, maybe 2 at a game, and that's about it. But
yeah, same here with Ottawa. I'm always driving because I don't want to spend $90 on an Uber and 4.5 hours getting there and back. But yeah, I mean, getting 2, you're still good. I think that's justified because you don't want to leave during the period. Because I think anybody who during the play, because they let you do this at some arenas, like here in Ottawa, during the play just goes back to their seat, that's trashy. Anybody who gets up or goes back to their seat while the play is on, that's trashy.
Yeah.
What else is there? Oh, I mean, there's
throwing stuff on the ice.
Oh, throwing stuff on the ice, definitely trashy.
Next level.
What about the
exception for hats and hat tricks?
Okay, fair. What about the people that try to sneak down to seats?
Honestly, if you want to go ahead and try that, like take that risk of potentially being tossed out, go for it. It makes the arena look fuller on TV. Personally, if I'm there and I see a section with a whole bunch of empty seats, I'm like, oh, what the hell's going on? Like I don't know. Maybe psychologically, it's better to have. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's context to that. I think if you just right off the bat go up to some seats on the front row when you bought nosebleeds, that's pretty risky. But if after a couple, if at least like midway through the second, if there's still some empty seats up there, I'd say that's probably free game.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's now that you bring that up, it is interesting. Like for most things, they will have people fill seats. Like most events that aren't sporting events, they'll bring people in specifically just to fill seats. I mean, my girlfriend and I were at a comedy show where we were moved up into the front row to fill seats because they were filming it. It seems odd to me that sports arenas don't do this. Like once the game has started, if there's people whose tickets aren't checked, like I guess if they're season ticket holders, they can't assume that those people aren't coming, which is probably the problem. But it just seems strange that they wouldn't at least ask the season ticket holders to RSVP by a certain time, or else they'll just say like, hey, we will fill your seats for the sake of the broadcast if you don't, say you're coming.
Yeah. Realistically, that would, in my opinion, that would be the better way to do it, because then it's just, it's psychologically, it feels better.
Yeah. Because how many times, like, especially with the people that are season ticket holders, I mean, at least for Toronto, it's a lot of, like we say, the suits and the corporate seats. All the biggest fans that are cheering the hardest are up in the 300s usually. So, I mean, you bring a bunch of those people down, it's going to make the broadcast look a lot better. Just saying. A bunch of signs all of a sudden come down on camera. Maybe you have to block some of them out, but at least they're there.
Well, plus change the atmosphere of the game, right? I'm sure the players would love it to see these fans going wild rather than guys in suits.
What else? Is trying to catch a t-shirt from the mascot's t-shirt cannon trashy?
No. It's so rare that it comes your way. You get a little excited. Why not? As long as he's not pushing a kid over or like an elderly person, you're in the clear.
Okay, got it. Grabbing anything from a toss at a game is classy. Pushing a kid over to do so is trashy.
Yeah.
There you go.
Gotta draw the line somewhere.
God. Anything else we can break down at the game? What else is there? Yeah, signs. Or signs, I guess depending on what it says. It's pretty gray area.
Gameplay, if it's like blocking a bunch of people's view, put it down. Commercials and shit,
maybe. True.
Am I weird for thinking that if you're an adult, maybe signs are trashy?
Yeah.
I don't think you're weird for that. I think it's strange as an adult to do some crafts to show another adult that, you love what they do. I don't know. I think that's kind of strange.
Yeah, like kids, by all means, like that's part of the experience, right? They're trying to get their idols to notice them.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like unless it was like Luke Man coming to Canada for the first time, like one of them, I traveled 30,000 or however many thousand kilometers it is, right? Like
there's context.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you're just like, yo, Marner, sauce me a stick on a sign, no, get out of here.
You're definitely wearing a jersey with your name on it.
Oh my god, with his number from Be a Pro and Chell.
Yeah, sitting in someone else's seat.
Definitely. Oh my god. Ugh. Shit, I just thought of one. Oh, any noisemaker at the game, Trashy. Don't leave your fucking your
100%.
drums and your kazoos and your spinny noisemaker things at home. I'm so tired of this. Every time there's somebody with one, unless you are a mascot who is paid by the team to make noise. Don't like. How do they let people in with these things? I don't get it. It's always like the one
Who
drum
knows?
guy, you know? It's like he's got a handshake deal with the team to be able to bring this
Or the
drum
cowbell.
in when nobody else. Or you got the cowbell guy. There's always
That's
the
the worst
cowbell
one.
person, and they've got like the cape on with like the it's the flag of the team, and they're like jumping around. It's like they're not looking for a new mascot. Like you're not going to get hired. I don't get what you're doing. I don't know. Those people bug me. That's Trashy. Man. Classy move I've seen a couple times the last few games I've gone to is there's like a group of kids and there's like a couple parents and they'll like get the seats like behind them and the kids have like their own little row and there's like
That's
three or
always pretty
four of
cool.
them. Yeah. Looks like they're always having a good
I've been
time.
to a few games with my cousin and his hockey team who come up out of town, and they always have their own little section. It's really fun.
Yeah, see, only child. I went to a lot of games with a lot of adults as a kid, so different experience. Maybe that's just me being jealous. Anyway,
Now, I've got one for you guys.
what's that?
Someone wearing an object in as a hat that isn't designed to be a hat.
Oh man, like a garbage can lid or
Like a bucket from a local wing joint that was brought to you with beer and ice in it.
yeah, and I'm gonna lump in dollar
That was
store
me, by the
color.
way.
Wait, actually, get the fuck out of here!
Love that.
Why?
So my one buddy, the same one I went to Ottawa with, we almost got in a fight, big time Canucks fan. For his bachelor party, it actually timed out perfectly that his NFL team, the Buccaneers, and his NHL team, the Canucks, were both playing in Buffalo in the same weekend.
Oh shit!
He went to university down in St. Catharines, so he had friends down there. We stayed at one of their house, so we just made up the whole bachelor party was a whole weekend. We hired a coach bus to take us from St. Catharines to Buffalo. Like, it was a great time. And we ate at this wing joint that was just down the road from the Sabres Arena. And needless to say, there was a lot of beverages ingested. And as we're getting ready to pay and to leave, I was really thirsty. We were already leaving. There's a big bucket full of icy water in front of me.
Oh boy!
I may or may not have drank it and put it on my head as a hat and walked out of the bar.
Oh boy!
Classy.
Well
They
done.
let me out of the bar and in the arena wearing it.
That is actually the craziest part of it, that they let you leave the bar like that and enter an arena like that. Damn.
And I wasn't the
Damn.
one that got kicked out of the arena. We had friends who did, but
Jesus, well done. I was gonna say I'm lumping in shitty like streamer dollar store wigs, like the blue and white ones.
Oh, yeah,
People have
for
like
sure.
those. Well, I don't. I'm over that. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Like dye your hair or paint your face. Those are kind of acceptable. That's a little silly. What else is there? I can't think of anything else.
I had two little things I
Yeah,
wanted to
I'm
bring
kind
up,
of at a
actually.
loss.
Fun little stats.
Go for it.
Just a reminder of how shitty the finances are in the NHL, especially compared to the league closest to them, the NBA. There is a
Oh,
player
God.
in the NBA, Jaylen Brown, not a top 3 player, not a top 5 player, not even a top 10 player. He signed a record contract for 5 years for $303 million.
I saw
One
that. I
of
didn't
those
realize he was
seasons
like not even a
We'll
relevant
give
person.
him $69 million. Phoenix, the Coyotes right now, their cap is
Oh, no.
$74 million. Think about that. Like, what a discrepancy. This guy on like the Ringer Network ranked him 22nd in the league. Like, that's
Oh
insane.
my god.
Anyways,
Oh.
my second point to this. In
my
1999,
God.
2000, guess who was the number one paid player in the league?
In
in
the
the
NHL?
NHL,
Yeah.
Lindros?
I would have to say Yager or Lindros. Yeah,
Yager. $17.4 million. That year, the
Holy
NHL
shit,
revenue was
what?
one. Not done. The NHL revenue that year for 99-2000 was $1.4 billion. Rewind it back to last year. Nathan McKinnon is making 12.6, and the NHL revenue is 5.7 billion. Make it make sense.
I don't think we can.
That was fire. Giving you fire for that. I don't even. That's insane. Like, I knew there were teams that were not cap compliant, but I didn't realize it was like there were players making more money than players are now at the max.
The league is making $4 billion less, and they're getting paid, $5 million less per year.
I don't get
people
it.
like Jaylen Brown are making $70 million a year.
As much as we can blame how Bettman runs this league, the NHLPA has really done themselves absolutely no favors at all in getting their own salaries up over the same course of time. Like this,
100%.
If they were an active union, like they would be livid with 80% of the things that he does, and instead they're just like, we'll take it to the next bargaining. Like every time it's like, oh, it might be a lockout, the players just fold on everything. They always do. So, or they'll sell out the next generation to, make it a little better on them. But it seems that Bettman always gets his way. And, that's kind of his job. They've just been losing time after time in these negotiations. And here we are. Entry-level contracts in the NHL are, what, 900 or 950 grand in 2023, which, I mean, not to shy at how much money that is, especially US dollars. But, I mean, come on. What's an entry-level contract in the NBA? Yeah. What is an NBA entry-level contract?
For NBA, I couldn't tell you.
It is.
I feel like I know it.
What is it? How much is a rookie contract? Oh, get the fuck out of here. So it's like 10 million a year? Yeah, okay, so it depends on when you were picked.
Yeah, I think the minimum you can make is 1.12 million.
Yeah, so if you're the first overall pick, first year salary is $10 million, second year salary is 10.6, third year option is 11.1. Honestly, until the 30th pick, you're still making over $2 million a year for 3 years.
Yeah,
That's
and if you
insane.
make like all NBA teams too, you can make way more money as well. It's crazy incentives.
Like, what? I did not realize these entry-level contracts were so high. Anyway, that's how far behind we are. That sucks. Thanks for tuning in.
That's not classy.
I hate this league sometimes, man. It's so stupid. Follow us everywhere. Watch the videos. Send us questions. I got some. I know I said I had merch coming out. I'm still working on it. I'm sorry. I want it to be perfect. I'm a perfectionist. It's coming. Love you. Good night.
Bye.
Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Leafs Late Night, your night of post-game podcast. Available after every game on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, and more.
If you have any other ideas for classy or trashy things, send that in too. That was fun.
Yeah, that's pretty fun.